Hey, how's it going, everybody? I don't know if there is an everybody out there. Maybe there's just one or two people out there, but that's good enough. And that's awesome enough. I remember when I first started this channel many, many years ago, 2013, I think, 2000, and yeah, around then. I was in Thailand, and I was just like in awe and just humbled by the fact that 20 people were watching my videos. So to me, if there's like 30 people, 40 people, 50, anyone that this can reach and maybe help in some way, that to me is pretty huge. So hopefully let's get on with this. I got an email, so this email is the inspiration to make this video. So thank you, Melissa, for this, and I will post this on my main page and then move it to my Patreon page after this and leave it up there. But anyway, here's the question. So Melissa says, "Hey Ape, here's my question. Please consider it a vent as well, so apologies in advance for the length. My ex left me after 1 year and rebounded within a week. Since I found out, I've cut off all channels of communication and new information, as you call it, fasting. I've watched your rebound relationship video more times than I can count on my fingers and toes. I've also watched Why Pain is Our Greatest Teacher more times than I'd like to admit. Looking back with much more clarity now, I don't think I even want her back. Maybe an apology would be nice, but I know I can live without it. I'm deeply introverted with abandonment issues, so this one hit me in the gut. It's been roughly 4 months since the breakup, and some days are tougher than others, but my healing is definitely on an upward trend, although not linear." Well, that's a lot of awareness right there. "I'm 31, and this was my first real relationship. My problem now is that it's affected the way I perceive the world. I don't trust anyone, and while I do enjoy the external world, I'm scared to be vulnerable. I don't see myself dating in the near future. I want to grieve and extract wisdom from the experience, but these days I'm scared to speak. How can I get better? Mel's." Wow. Well, what an awesome question. And by the way, Mel's, I hope you're okay with me sharing this with everyone. So maybe before I post it, I'll send a message to you and check that it will be okay to do this video. But first of all, like, so much great self-awareness you can see in Mel's email. One thing that stood out to me was how she's aware that her healing isn't going to always be linear, which means that there's going to be ups and downs. But it's sort of like when you look at stocks, or trends, they're never like in a straight line, right? They're always kind of like up and down, but it should be going up, right? If it's going up, that's a good thing. And you know what? Despite difficulties in life and all the stuff we go through, we're always pretty much like growing in some way. We're either like becoming more aware or wiser in some way, or just all the beatings of life, the stress, the difficulties of life, like that samurai katana sword, with every pounding of that sword, it's just getting, more folded, stronger, and those are the strongest swords that you can get. So everything that Mel is going through right now, she's going through, you can see like a period of self-awareness, looking at what's going on within herself, which is really awesome. Understanding that she's more introverted with abandonment issues. I always say though, be very careful about labels that we put on ourselves. So The first thing I would say to Mel is that, while it is important to be able to understand yourself and what's going on within you, and sometimes labels like, being introverted or having abandonment issues or whatever, those labels can help us identify what's going on with ourselves, but we don't want to live within those identifiers or those labels. So as a big part of your healing process, Mel, I would say that, be able to identify yourself, know thyself, it's so important. But also know that the power of labels and identifiers in keeping us, like there are people that will use this in the other way, which will, like people who want to become successful, people who manifest very well will be, will use labels to help them grow. So they'll say things like, I am a world champion, I am the smartest, I am the most kind, I am the most loving. And you can also use those in your healing process as well. For example, each day I grow more free and loving of myself. Each day I heal more and more. Each day I unravel and open myself up courageously to all that the world can offer me. Things like that. When I'm coaching, when I'm counseling, I will walk my clients or people that I'm working with through filling pages of this kind of stuff. When I go through difficulty, when I have a fight that I'm preparing for, or when I've gone through difficulties in the past, I will fill an entire page in maybe under a few minutes, repeating the same sort of line like that. It's mental strength conditioning. It's the power of labels and identifiers to help basically, I don't want to use the word mold, but it's to help shape and channel ourselves onto a path of growth and healing. So words are very powerful, labels are very powerful. So Mel, what I would say, offer to you and to anyone else going through anything similar is be aware of the labels that you are placing upon yourself. Make sure that those labels are either temporary. In the case of Mel, I would say these should be temporary labels, that you're identifying, okay, I'm more introverted, or I have abandonment, past experiences and trauma. But, leave it in the past. That's who you were. Who you are from this point moving forward can be anything, anyone that you shape yourself into, anyone that you desire. So desire, that's a really important place that I would stop and have a chat with you, Mel. I would say that desire, and for everyone else, anyone else who might be watching this, the real core of almost everything that we find challenging or struggle with in life is whether you want it. Do you desire? Do you want to get better or not? I've touched on this in my past videos, but a long time ago in my life, I identified the importance of how do you want to get better, or how to want to feel better. That's a big thing for a lot of people. And, not to get sexist or anything, but men and women are different. And, I've had many sessions with women and many sessions with men. And to me, at least, from my perspective and my experience, it's undeniable the big differences in the way men and women operate perceive things, implement things. So the reason I bring it up is because from my experience, women tend to be a lot better at the wanting to get better side of things. Whereas, and again, keeping in mind that what I am about to say could be labels, and we don't ever want to generalize and put labels on things, but I have found that men seem to struggle more with the wanting to get better. And I put it down to so many different things, are just difference in biology, difference in the way we're built, our DNA, men, women, can be more nurturing, more growth minded. So I would say it's a genetic thing in some respect, but I would also say that it's a cultural, societal thing over hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years of, what women have had to go through for thousands of years is just unbelievable. Like, without going off on a rant, women up until just 100 years ago weren't able to vote in this country. Over hundreds and hundreds of years have just been treated like property, have been treated like second-class human beings. So I would say that what doesn't kill us makes us stronger and better, and that is for sure true with any population that's been, tormented, bullied, put down. It's crazy because when a group of people puts another group of people down, they think that they are, bringing them down, being a detriment to their life. They don't realize they're just going to make them stronger. So I also believe strongly that hundreds of years of women going through such difficulty and pain and just suffering, has enlightened so many women. And now when I encounter women, I can see so much wisdom and patience and love and kindness, and so much experience and all of it, So Mel, with you, it's, I'm guessing you're a woman, a female. I would guess that you're going to also have all that ability, to, I can see it. I can see your awareness in your email. So I'd say be very mindful of labels. Use words and labels to help guide you forward. It's not lying to yourself. It's not, we can sometimes get confused about, well, I want to be honest and real. But look, what is honest and real? This world is it's what we make of it. Whether you want it or not, you're an artist, and this entire existence and experience is your canvas. And you can either create your life unconsciously or consciously. So, it's not lying to yourself. It's basically trying to bring the best into your life, which you deserve. You've earned it. And it's not only that you're going to be improving your own life, but by strengthening yourself and your life, you're going to improve the lives of everybody around you that you care about. Your mom, your dad, your brothers, your sisters, your kids, your friends. When you're a stronger, healthier person, that's the best way you can help others. We think that we're helping others when we tell them what to do, when we suggest to them what they should do. Oh, you should go to the gym more, you should stretch more, you should eat healthier. I'm guilty of this. Sometimes I lose my awareness, and I, out of fear and concern for my family, for my mom, for my relatives, I'll just, blindly just unconsciously start just telling them, oh, you should have a green smoothie, you should go stretch, you should do yoga. And then for me, I have my mental training that I do, the things that I look out for. So whenever I say the words "you should," to me that's like an indication of, oh, stop. A good guide, a good influence in your life is always going to be the one that's actually doing it and leading by example. Those are the ones who influence us the most. When we see people around us just doing well with their lives, eating well, living well, behaving well, that's what inspires us. And it can be frustrating for leaders, people who love to lead with good intentions, who want to improve the health and the lives of people around them. There can be this urge to want to just cut to the end and to be like, just tell them what to do. Oh, you should exercise. But ask yourself, does that ever help when people tell you what to do? Usually it doesn't. Usually we don't like to be told what to do. We like to find out, for the most part, for ourselves, because when we find out for ourselves, it's more personal. We feel, more closer to our journey, to ourselves. I mean, it's so important to always be learning. Most of my life, I've asked. I love to ask. I love to learn from others. I'm so grateful that I've always been the type of person that likes to learn before I go through those experiences. So I've always had friends, people around me that had gone through extreme health issues, difficulties in life, and then from them I've learned so much, and I've applied it to my own life. So let's get back to Mel's email real quick, just to be sure that I'm covering her questions. So her ex left her 1 year after a year being together, and then rebound within a week. So let's just stop right there, okay? Rebounding within a week, I've made videos about this. If someone rebounds, within a week, it's a really common thing, okay? And we know the reasons for that. It's because, anyone who's strong and happy with themselves and healthy and enjoying life isn't going to need someone else to make them feel better. So always be aware of that. If someone's going to rebound, especially that quickly, it's usually because it means they have an emptiness inside them. They feel sad. They feel afraid, alone, anxious, nervous. It's all those feelings. So it's not something, the correct response, the correct mature spiritual response to that would be more compassion, would be more understanding, would be more to understand that this person isn't like, up here, and, this person is probably struggling just as you are. So not even probably, but extremely likely that they are going through what you are. And you know what? 8-9 times out of 10, we don't realize it, but they're going through exactly what you're going through as well. So breakups are difficult, usually for both people, and people have different ways to handle it. So, this is why I always talk about no contact, no information, no snooping, because we'll find out that they rebounded, and then our mind will always create the worst. It's just natural. You look at great horror movies, especially a long time ago, the greatest horror movies wouldn't show you the monster. They would leave it up to your own imagination, because your own imagination is often way worse, way more intense. And it's the same with this. If you even, as I've said so many times in my older videos, even if you see like a dish with food on it on their Instagram, you're going to start thinking the worst. Oh, how come she's having chicken? She never eats chicken, or why is she at this restaurant? And so it's not going to help you. It's going to only delay the process, increase your suffering. I was coaching someone recently, and I was advising this person, hey, don't do the snooping. Again, see, telling people what to do often doesn't help. But I was advising this person, going through all the lists of things that will help and the things that will not help. And this person needed to learn by himself. Was even though I was offering a lot of things that have helped a lot of people, helped myself, this person still needed to, because it's difficult. Going through breakups is very hard, and sometimes you just have to learn it the hard way. And in his case, he knew that he shouldn't be snooping and looking at Instagram, social media, but he did so anyway, and it just made it worse, added more time. He wound up getting more lost, going through more suffering, and then of course comes back to the same spot again that he was in a month ago, and asking the same questions. I need, that help. This time for real, I want to do it, and et cetera, et cetera. And I respect that, because at least he's not given up, and he's, learning what, firsthand. However, some people who are blessed out there don't need to learn it firsthand and experience the pain and the trauma, because sometimes you can get hurt, sometimes you don't need to see some things that can be hurtful. More often than not, you don't need to see them. Your focus should be always on your life, getting stronger physically, mentally, emotionally. Even if you're in a great relationship, that should be your focus and where your primary attention should be. So that's important, Mel, for you to know. I'm sure you already know that just because someone rebounds within a week doesn't mean anything. If anything, it just shows how empty and lost and in pain they are. So since she found out, she says she cut off all channels of communication and new information, as you call it, fasting. Excellent. I've watched your rebound relationship video more times. Okay, I've watched Why Pain is a Great Teacher. Looking back with much more clarity now, excellent. I don't think I even want her back. 100%. Maybe an apology would be nice. The apology is up to her, because you shouldn't need anything, if she doesn't apologize, it's just bad karma, bad energy for her. How does that work? Let's talk about it, because I find this fascinating, how karma, bad energy, prayers, blessings, curses, all these things are associated. Many years ago, someone did something nice for me, and this person was a stranger, and still to this day I think of that great nice thing that they did for me. And every time I think of that nice thing that they do, I am sending this person good energy. I am basically sending them a prayer. And the prayer is unconscious most of the time. It's just I'll think of them and I'll be like, what a great person. What a great human being that person is. And in that moment when I'm thinking that thought, I am vibrating, I'm resonating. That thought sets a vibration, it sets a frequency, my entire body, my energy. There's so much science hasn't been able to show us yet that I believe is happening, probably beams coming out of us, beams of vibration that one day, as I say in my videos, a scientist will come up with goggles that you can put on, and you'll suddenly start seeing beams coming out of people. They could be bad beams, curses. It could be beautiful beams, and I believe that, when someone does you good, you're always going to think of them in a good light. And every time you think of them in that good light, you are sending them a prayer. And, people will say, well, it's not important what other people think of me. Yes, I understand the wisdom of that, but I also do believe it is important. Karma is important. It is important how we treat other people. Very important. Even our most faintest interactions, even let's say if you're on a dating app or interacting with people online on Instagram, and you post something terrible, like something hurtful, even if you're on a dating app and let's say you ghost someone, well, that someone could think about that ghosting experience, and every time they associate you with that painful experience, guess what? They're sending you, I don't want to say a curse, but it's definitely not a prayer, and it's the opposite of a prayer. And I personally believe you will feel that in some way. And it could be that it's coming from that person, but I think 9 times out of 10, it's more just when you ghost someone, you're going to know that it's not a good thing that you should be doing, and you're going to have a slightly more negative self-image of yourself, less self-love, more self-hatred, and eventually it's going to wear on you, it's going to affect your life. When you interact with people, you're going to think you're not a good person, you're going to start to, this is all subconscious, by the way. If you're blessed and educated enough in spirituality, you could become aware of all this, but most of the time this is going to happen with people subconsciously. They're just going to think, I'm a shitty person, I don't deserve this, I don't deserve good things in life, and then slowly this is how people's lives can just kind of disintegrate and become worse. And then the opposite is true as well. If you treat people, even strangers, like online, even those delicate, brief, faint interactions, if you can be kind to people, even like on a dating app, and be polite and respectful and don't ghost, and every time you're able to be kind to someone, and even when no one's watching, when it's just you and that person, and it's so easy to just be a dick, but you choose to be kind and respectful, you're going to have that self-respect for yourself. Probably it's going to be unconscious, but that's still very powerful. You're going to have that self-love for yourself. You're going to have that belief that you deserve good things because you're a good person. And so, this is the kingdom of heaven. This is heaven versus hell. This world, this existence we're in, is the canvas upon which we live. We experience hell or heaven, or both, a mix of both. But we all want more of the heaven, right? Because heaven is more enjoyable, it's less painful. But above being less painful and more joyful, it's actually who we truly are in our essence. And that's why it feels good. Mel, apologies for the rants and going off topic here, but hopefully this is all helpful and linked. But going back to who we truly are and why it feels good, I also believe that any pain and suffering you feel during your breakup, or any of us feel, and it doesn't have to be in a breakup, it can be with any situation, whenever we feel bad, that bad feeling, can be pain, it can be sadness, depression, it could just be anger, resentment, whatever bad feeling we ever feel. I believe that it is because we're not being ourselves. We've become someone else. We are not that angry person. We are not that bitter person. So when we feel bitter, when someone does us wrong, when someone says something hurtful to us, why is there pain arising? I don't think the pain arising is because they've said, something hurtful to us. I think it's because of what happens to us when we hear those words. When we hear those words, we suddenly can respond in several ways. We can respond in a way that will be like, I hate you for saying that, and I want you to suffer now. And feeling that way, feeling hateful, isn't who you are, isn't who you truly are. So it doesn't feel good when you feel hurt, hateful. It doesn't feel good when you wish ill on other people, because that's not who you are. So I've observed this in myself, in people that I've worked with, and people that I am close with, that they often, or we all often, will feel bad, not because of something that's happened to us externally to us, but it's because we allow those things to change us for a second and mimic those things. So if hate is coming at us, it can be easy for us to become hateful. And then that feeling, that doesn't feel good. That's what feels bad, because we don't want to be, Mark Twain's cool quote where he says that anger or hatred does worse for the vessel that it's in than for what it's being poured on, right? So if you can stay true to who you are throughout this process that you're in, you're going to feel a lot better. You're going to feel more confident in yourself. So, I'm very blessed. I have an unbelievable mother. My mother has been the source of most of my knowledge, a lot of my knowledge and wisdom from her. And she's an incredibly loving, kind person. And she doesn't allow and she's always involved with, she has a difficult family who have a lot of pain and suffering and unconsciousness, but she always responds with love and kindness, and she doesn't ever lose who she is in the process. And I can tell you that, Mel, going through your process, your journey, always just stay true to who you are, which I'm sure is a kind, loving, beautiful person inside and out, I'm sure. And don't lose yourself. And so sometimes, going back to someone I was coaching recently, his ex goes to Vegas, starts partying, he's looking at her Instagram and going nuts, and then asks me questions like, should I date this girl who, is at my work, or shall I, at least he's got that wisdom and awareness to ask and to come and seek counseling, which I give a lot of respect to. When people see therapists, talk to counselors, that's what it's there for. We pay money for massages, for so many things. However, so many of us, we neglect paying for one of the most important things, which is counseling, talking to a professional therapist. Anyway, so he asks me, and then of course I tell him, no, focus on who you are, be yourself, focus on strengthening who you are. Because see how the bad behavior of others can affect and bring the worst out of us sometimes. So, see, this video is turning into a classic mouth of the ape, long-ass rant. I hope there's going to be something good in here for some people out there. Now let's continue with Mel's email real quick. So, looking back with much more clarity now, I don't even want her back. Good for you, Mel. Maybe an apology would be nice, but I know I can live without it. Good for you, Mel. Yes, the apology is up to her. If she wants to clean her soul and spirit and not have that bad karma that we had like a little bit of a rant about earlier, that's all up to her. You focus on yourself, keep your spirit clean, and keep your essence focused. That's all you need to focus on. Forgive her. If anything, forgive her, right? Forgiveness is more about yourself. So truly forgive her. And there's no time, when I started coaching people, and I would talk about forgiveness, they would say, oh, I'm not ready. And then I would back off as a counselor. I'd be like, okay, But now, more than ever, I realize there's no time to wait for forgiveness. You just have to start doing it, because it's always going to be difficult at the beginning to forgive someone. So just start, and start by actually writing it down. I forgive you for hurting me. I forgive you for disappointing me. I forgive you for all the pain you've caused me. You could probably start crying when you do all of this, and that's good. Do it. Cry. I forgive you for wasting my time. I forgive you for leading me on. I forgive you for rejecting me, for abusing me, for making a fool out of me. Just write it all down, but focus on the forgiveness. Say, I forgive you, okay? Now, I don't know if I should talk about why that's so powerful. Sometimes it's better for people not to know why, and just to do it. So if people are interested to know the whys, let me know in the comments, or you can email or whatever, and then I can go more deeply into the reasons why. But just brief peek into why it is so effective to forgive, because only a strong person has the capacity to forgive. So if you're feeling weak and insecure and wounded, it is a form of manifesting. It's a powerful affirmation when you say, I forgive you, because you are putting yourself subconsciously in a position of power and strength. So you are, again, I look at religion like Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism as unbelievably highly intelligent psychology, very, very smart psychology. We think we know everything nowadays, but thousands of years ago, the wisdom was so high level. There's a faith called the Zoroaster faith. It's an ancient Persian faith. I believe it's a 3,000, 4,000 year old faith. Think about that. That's from the time of the ancient Egyptians. It might even be older. It might be 5,000 years. So maybe someone could, let us know in the comments. But their tenets from 3,000 years ago was think good thoughts, say good words, and do good deeds. I mean, that is really everything, So, the understanding of affirmations, the power of words, thoughts, so important. So, when you say, I forgive you for this, it's not what you think. There's a lot happening in those words that are so powerful and very freeing. So just try it out. And forgiveness for me, for a lot of people, is a huge road out of suffering and into being who you truly are. kind, loving, all-embracing spirit. That's who we all are. We are all, the essence of all of us is just existence, is acceptance, and that's love. Acceptance is love. So when we resist, when we create pain and suffering, that's it's not who we truly are. It's something else for another video. But let's get back to Mel's email here. Oops. And an apology would be nice, but I know I can live without it. I'm deeply introverted. Okay, Mel, good to know, but be very mindful of that label. I'm deeply introverted with abandonment issues, right? So be aware of that line there. Something, maybe now's not the time, but keep it on your radar, write it down, and this is something that you will want to move away from, that thought and belief. So this one hit me in the gut. It's been roughly 4 months since the breakup, and some days are tougher than others, but my healing is definitely on an upward trend. I'm 31, and this was my first real relationship. Hey, I was the same age as you when I had my first real relationship, so it's cool. We're all living longer now. We're having children in our 40s and 50s, or if you're Robert De Niro or Al Pacino, I don't know who it was, those guys are still having babies and they're like 70. So my problem now is that it's affected the way I perceive the world. Well, look, that's an affirmation too. That's a statement, right? That's a belief. You've got to ask yourself, is that belief going to help you? Because yes, it currently is affecting the way you look at the world. Is it going to always affect the way you perceive the world? Well, that's up to you. If you always believe that the problem now is that it's affected the way I perceive the world, as long as you keep repeating that thought and that statement, then it will affect the way you perceive the world, right? But as soon as you start to turn that statement around and apply more intelligence into that thought, thinking of the Zoroasters, think good thoughts, say good words, do good deeds. So this is exactly it. My problem now is that it's affected the way I perceive the world, right? Well, maybe it's not a problem. Maybe love the way that it's affected the way you perceive the world. That's what I would say. That aren't you glad now that you have more awareness and wisdom and experience in your life? Guess what? That greater awareness, knowledge, experience is going to affect your love and your passion. You're going to have greater passion, greater understanding, greater patience. Trust me, it's inevitable. You will. Unless you resist and you keep holding on to, oh, this has affected my, so it's up to you. We all have our time to suffer and heal. And honestly, from my experience doing hundreds of counseling, coaching sessions and working with friends, family, clients, myself, I can tell you that moving forward and letting go is more about what's going on in your mind and how you're digesting and processing things. And reading books, researching, watching videos, it's going to help you because you're going to find pieces of information that are going to help unlock and process. Because what you're going through right now is not too dissimilar to digesting food. It's like you just had a bad burger that wasn't cooked properly, or it was a bit old, whatever, and now you're like, oh. So what your body, your digestive system needs to break that all down, and it's going to absorb the nutrition, the minerals. It's going to absorb what it can, which is what you're doing right now. You're absorbing, you're learning what you can. You're going to keep the good, and then you're going to crap out what you don't need. And you're going to crap it out. Don't worry. It is going to It's going to be gone as long as you continue to educate yourself, as it seems you clearly are, watching videos, reading books. So don't stop your educational process. It's like me. I do jiu-jitsu, recently, finally, after years, received my black belt last year, in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Very grateful for that, under a great teacher, Master Leo Vieira, so I was very, very honored, very grateful, proud of that. But I wouldn't have reached that if I stopped, right? If I just did it for a year or two, I would just have my blue belt or white belt. I had to keep going, and the things I know now compared to what I knew when I was a purple belt are vast. And it's the same with you. Just because you learn a few things on YouTube videos or reading, that doesn't mean that you should stop, because it's just the tip of the iceberg. And knowledge, wisdom will set you free, because knowledge and wisdom will help you see the truth. And the truth is that all of this is not as serious and crazy as we think it is, Forgive them. She's not that different to you. We're not that different to each other. We're all just doing our best to get through this crazy world we're in. So practice your forgiveness every day. Write it down. I forgive you for this. I forgive you for that. And keep learning and reading more, and you will be able to deal with this line that you just mentioned, which is my problem now is that it's affected the way I perceive the world. Yes, I 100% know what you're talking about there. You're never going to be the same person again. You're always going to be changing no matter what. You're not who you were yesterday, but who you're going to be tomorrow is completely within your control, with the books you read, the music you listen to, the people you hang out with, the food that you eat, the activities that you do, the words you say, the thoughts you think, the actions that you do, right? Anyways, let's wrap this up here. I don't trust anyone, and while I do enjoy the external world, I am scared to be vulnerable. I don't see myself dating in the near future. I want to grieve and extract wisdom from the experience, but these days I'm scared to speak. So just look at that line and how it's full of so many limiting beliefs and thoughts. It's packed full of them, right? So you ask at the end, how can I get better? Step one, see what you're thinking, see what you're writing. Then ask yourself, do these things help me? The answer could be yes. Maybe for now it does help you to go through this. But I guarantee you, if you continue to think and speak in this way, you're going to be stuck right here. Let's read it one more time. If you continue to think and talk in this way, I don't trust anyone. And while I do enjoy the external world, I'm scared to be vulnerable. So you would want to change these lines into, in the past, or I currently have difficulties with trust. And while I do enjoy the external world, that's an awesome line, by the way. So I salute you for having that, hope and light within you, even through such a difficult time that you're going through. That's going to only get bigger and bigger as you heal. You say, I'm scared to be vulnerable. Who isn't scared to be vulnerable? We all are scared to be vulnerable, especially nowadays, Mel. Nowadays, everyone's like, I'm sorry to say, but the world, there's so much fakeness in the world. People are, there's a lot of, why is it that mushrooms and weed and psychedelics are such a big trend now? Because the roots of those things are about opening yourself up, having the courage to be vulnerable in front of others, or in your case, you're talking more about relationships. Well, right now you don't need to be vulnerable. Right now you are healing. So it's just like you've broken your arm. What happens when you break your arm? They put a cast over your arm. After you break your arm, you're not expected to be vulnerable with your arm and use it to do things. No, it's time to put a cast, to have a break, to let things heal. So you say, I'm scared to be vulnerable. Yes, right now, that's totally okay. You're allowed right now to be scared to be vulnerable. Are you going to be scared to be vulnerable for the rest of your life? Come on. What are the chances of that? Highly unlikely, especially if you heal, do good work, put in the work, educate yourself. You say, I don't see myself dating in the near future. Excellent. You don't need to. I want to grieve and extract wisdom from the experience. Excellent. But these days I'm scared to speak. Totally fine. You're totally allowed. So I think that from everything I see you're really a wise, aware person who's just been hurt, disappointed, dealing with all the painful, hard things that we deal with when it comes to breakups, which is rejection, loneliness, emptiness. But yes, all those feelings are going to help strengthen you. And thank you, Mel, for being the catalyst to get me to make a video again. And to all 20, 30, 40, however many people who are going to watch this, I hope you enjoyed it. I'm still figuring out my setup over here and where to do the video. Like, should I do it here? You know, the lighting is better here and I have some cool stuff in the background over here. You know, this is a good spot. The lighting looks better on me, I guess. You know, over here it's kind of weird, and over here. So let's see if you guys can see my view. Probably not. There it is. A little bit of the view. So yeah, I'm still figuring stuff out. As you can see, let's see, maybe this is a good view. Maybe I should do it like this from now on. Who knows? But look, we're all growing. We're all learning. Even I am. See, I'm still figuring my stuff out. So take it easy on yourself, okay? Be kind to yourself. Maybe the spot that I have it in is not a great spot. Maybe you guys can let me know. Is this a good spot? I don't know. I feel like the background is a little more interesting. All right, everybody. Good luck, Mel. Let's all wish Mel all the best. Let's send her a lot of awesome energy. Let's send her that good karma, those blessings, those prayers, as I was talking about earlier, you know? And I send everyone out there who this reaches, I send you guys great focus to be on your path, love, energy, and I pray that, you know, you're able to free yourselves and be great examples and influences in your lives for the people you love around you. So here goes. I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to post it online, and I look forward to connecting with all of you. And Mel, I hope you're going to be okay with me sharing this video. If not, let me know and I'll take it down. All right, everybody. Adios for now, and talk to you all soon. Bye. Crap, I hope I was recording. Yes, I was. All right. All right, adios for now.